The most dangerous time of day for your heart is not the middle of the afternoon. It is not the evening. It is the first 30 minutes after you wake up. Between 6 and 10 in the morning, the risk of heart attack and stroke is at its peak. Blood pressure surges, adrenaline floods the system, blood is more prone to clotting. The cardiovascular system goes from its lowest demand state to full activity in a matter of minutes. This transition happens every day, and most people over 60 make it significantly more dangerous with 5 specific morning habits that they have been repeating for years without ever knowing the risk they were creating. My name is Dr. Emmanuel Osei. I'm a cardiovascular surgeon with over 2 decades in the operating room, and today I'm going to show you 5 morning habits that are damaging your heart after 60, and the simple fix for each one. Stay with me. The first dangerous morning habit is getting out of bed too fast. After a night of sleep, your blood pressure is at its lowest. Your blood is at its most viscous, thickest, because you have not had fluids for 8 hours. Your blood vessels are in their most contracted state. When you sit up and stand in one rapid movement, your cardiovascular system has to immediately compensate for gravity, pushing blood upward against a system that was not ready for the demand. For many older adults, this produces a brief but significant drop in blood pressure, called orthostatic hypotension, that causes dizziness, loss of balance, and in some cases fainting. Falls from morning dizziness are one of the leading causes of serious injury in people over 60. More critically, the abrupt cardiovascular demand of standing rapidly from a lying position triggers an immediate adrenaline response that spikes heart rate and blood pressure. In a person with vulnerable coronary plaques, this spike can be enough to destabilize one. What to do? Wake up. Lie still for 30 seconds. Sit up slowly. Sit on the edge of the bed for another 30 seconds before standing. 60 seconds of transition, every morning. This one change reduces orthostatic hypotension episodes by a significant margin. The second dangerous morning habit is drinking coffee immediately after waking. Coffee is not inherently harmful for most people over 60, but the timing matters. In the first 30 to 60 minutes after waking, your body naturally produces a surge of cortisol, part of the normal morning awakening response. Cortisol raises blood pressure, increases heart rate, and prepares the body for activity. This cortisol peak is already happening without any coffee. Adding caffeine on top of a cortisol peak amplifies the cardiovascular stimulation. The combination of natural cortisol surge plus caffeine produces a higher and more prolonged blood pressure spike than either alone. For people with hypertension, arterial stiffness, or a history of arrhythmia, this combined morning spike is a daily cardiovascular stress event. What to do? Wait 90 minutes after waking before your first coffee. This allows the cortisol peak to pass naturally. Your coffee will still work, and you will not be stacking it on top of an already elevated system. If you take blood pressure medication, take it before the coffee, not after. The third dangerous morning habit is taking your medications incorrectly. Most blood pressure and cardiovascular medications are prescribed with instructions like, take once daily. When in the morning, with food, without food, with water only, is rarely specified clearly. 3 common errors. Taking blood pressure medication with grapefruit juice, which we discussed in a previous video, blocks the liver enzyme that metabolizes it, causing the medication to reach 2 to 3 times its intended level. Taking certain medications on an empty stomach when they are better absorbed with food, or taking food-dependent medications before eating and wondering why they cause nausea. Taking all medications at the same time when some interact with each other, particularly calcium supplements and thyroid medications, which should be separated by at least 4 hours because calcium blocks thyroid hormone absorption. What to do? Ask your pharmacist for a specific morning medication protocol. What order, what timing, with food or without, what to avoid. 20 minutes with a pharmacist can eliminate years of suboptimal medication management. The fourth dangerous morning habit is hot showers immediately after waking. A very hot shower immediately after waking causes rapid peripheral vasodilation. Your blood vessels near the skin dilate suddenly to dissipate heat. Blood is pulled toward the skin and away from the central circulation. For a healthy younger person, this redistribution is easily managed. For an older adult with reduced cardiovascular reserve and arterial stiffness, the sudden shift in blood distribution can cause a significant drop in central blood pressure and a compensatory heart rate spike. This mechanism is the same reason that hot tubs are associated with cardiac events in older adults. The heat-induced vasodilation is simply more than the system can compensate for without strain. What to do? Start your shower warm rather than hot. If you prefer hot water, transition gradually rather than immediately. And avoid very hot showers within 30 minutes of waking. Let your cardiovascular system complete its morning transition before adding thermal stress. The fifth dangerous morning habit is intense exercise immediately after waking. Exercise is one of the most powerful cardiovascular protections available. Regular physical activity reduces blood pressure, reduces inflammation, and slows arterial stiffening. I recommend it without reservation. But the timing of intense exercise in the morning matters. The first 30 to 60 minutes after waking is the period of highest cardiovascular risk. Blood is more viscous. Platelet aggregation is higher. Blood pressure is surging. Performing high-intensity exercise, running, heavy lifting, vigorous cycling, during this window adds acute cardiovascular demand on top of an already elevated risk state. Multiple studies have documented that morning exercise, particularly intense morning exercise, is associated with a disproportionate share of exercise-related cardiac events compared to afternoon exercise. This does not mean avoid morning exercise. It means transition into it carefully. What to do? Begin with 10 minutes of light movement, walking, gentle stretching, slow movement, before any moderate or intense activity. This warm-up period allows your cardiovascular system to complete its morning transition before facing the demands of exercise. Afternoon or early evening exercise carries lower cardiac event risk for people over 60 with cardiovascular risk factors. I want to tell you about a man I'll call Dennis. 66 years old, recently retired. He had decided retirement was the time to get healthy. Every morning he woke up, jumped straight out of bed, made a strong coffee immediately, took his 3 medications, including his blood pressure pill, then went directly into a 30-minute jog. Within 2 months, he had experienced 2 episodes of significant dizziness during his run. On the 3rd, he collapsed briefly in his driveway. His neighbor found him sitting on the ground, confused. He came to me expecting a serious diagnosis. What he had was a textbook convergence of morning cardiovascular stressors. Abrupt standing, immediate caffeine on top of his cortisol peak, blood pressure medication not yet absorbed, hot shower beforehand, intense exercise during peak risk hours. No single habit was catastrophic. Combined, they were creating a daily cardiovascular stress test that his system was beginning to fail. We restructured his morning routine. Same exercise, same coffee, same medication, different sequence and timing. The dizziness resolved completely. He has been running every morning for 2 years without incident. He told me, "I thought I was doing everything right. I was doing everything right, just in the wrong order." That is the most important lesson of this video. It is not what you do in the morning, it is the sequence and the timing. Let me bring this together. 1. Get out of bed slowly. 60 seconds of transition eliminates orthostatic hypotension and morning blood pressure spikes. 2. Wait 90 minutes before coffee. Let your cortisol peak pass before adding caffeine. 3. Take your medications correctly. Right timing, right sequence, right food pairing. 4. Avoid very hot showers immediately after waking. Gradual temperature transition protects central circulation. 5. Warm up for 10 minutes before any intense exercise. Never go from sleep to high intensity without cardiovascular transition time. None of these changes require equipment, prescriptions, or significant effort. They require 60 seconds of attention at the moments that matter most. I want to hear from you. Which of these morning habits are you going to change first? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. If this video gave you something useful, share it. Not for me, for someone in your life who jumps out of bed every morning and goes straight to their coffee without ever thinking about what that does to their heart. Send this to them. It costs them nothing to change. It could protect everything. Everything I've shared today is based on current cardiovascular research and my clinical experience as a cardiovascular surgeon. This is general information, not personal medical advice. Always consult your own doctor before making any changes to your health routine. Take care of your heart. It has been working for you every single minute of your life without ever asking for anything in return.